Welcome back to Ask the Trade Pros, your favorite show where a couple of trade guys talk. And sometimes we talk about trade stuff. We're here to answer your questions about your HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and any other home system so you can hopefully keep your home running smoothly. I'm Jordan.
And I'm Todd.
Today we've got a listener question from Tom. We hear this a lot. He writes, do I need to worry about cleaning the air ducts in my house? And if so, how would I go about doing that?
Good question, Tom. Air ducts can cause a whole bunch of issues in your home, including air quality, efficiency of the system, amongst a few other things. So let's get into when is a good time to clean them and how you can do that.
So how do we know if it's time to clean your air ducts? Well, this has always been a tough question for me because I get some customers that want them cleaned all the time and other customers who it wouldn't bother them what's in their ducts. So let's talk about a couple of the basics when you're looking at your ducts, and maybe that can help.
Sure. So I would say if you're a smoker and have been a lifetime smoker, it's probably time to clean your ducts.
You mean if you got yellow walls in your house?
Yeah, if your walls are yellow, you're a smoker.
I'm pretty sure most people don't smoke in their house anymore.
Let's get those ducts clean. But all seriousness, a few things that you could recognize. Sometimes there's a smell. Obviously, if you look up at your supply vents and see a dirt ring or stuff growing out of those vents, I would say it's probably a good indicator to at least open it up and look in there and really make that decision there.
Yeah, you have to start with what's in your air and what's out there. But I always like to explain to people how an air conditioner system works and whether they need to clean the ducts. Now, there's multiple reasons you can clean the ducts. You can clean them for dust. You can clean them if you're worried about biological buildup, like mold or mildew, smell like that. But the way your air conditioner system works is it takes the dirty air that's in your house, it sucks it in through the return grill. Oftentimes then there's a return duct or a return plenum. It then hits your unit, goes through the blower, goes through the furnace, and then comes out the ducts. So a lot of customers say, would my ducts get dirty? And I'm like, if they did, it has to go through the entire system to get there. So oftentimes that means you haven't been changing your filter, you haven't been cleaning the rest of the system, you haven't been doing the proper maintenance.
So what are you saying? They have a dirty house?
Well, most of the
ducts are dirty.
Todd, you know how many times we have people that go to get their duct cleaning, and it's really just the front 6 inches of the duct that's dirty. The rest of the duct is almost spotless because that front part of the duct can get dirty going backwards rather than through the duct system.
Yeah, so if you have a split system and you're filtering it at the furnace or the air handler rather than filtering it at the inside location, then yeah, it's going to make a big difference of where the filter is as well.
Yeah, I also recommend often to people, if you haven't had your ducts cleaned ever, then it's not a bad idea. Even in the best of systems, you're going to get a little bit of buildup or a little bit of dust or something over time, just because it'll work its way through there. But if you get them, if you've been in the house for 15 years, then yeah, it's probably a good idea to get your ducts cleaned at least once so you know where they're at.
Yeah, in talking about doing it yourself, I'm not sure that it's a good idea to try to tackle that yourself. I guess for me, it would depend on what type of ductwork is it. Is it hard duct, meaning metal? Is it flexible duct? There is, certain brands of older flex duct that become so brittle that if you touch it, it just falls apart. So you got to be careful if you're going to attempt to do it yourself. I would recommend probably hiring a professional. And if you want to tackle part of it, if your registers are dirty, you could take those off, unscrew those, typically 2-4 screws max for that. And you can soak them in a mild detergent, wash them off. That way you'll at least have a better appearance. You could take a flashlight, look in there with a flashlight and see, if you spot any visible mildew, mold, dirt, whatever the case is. But I would definitely be careful, sticking any brush or broom or vacuum in there, especially if it's flex duct.
We've seen that a lot. So you have to be very careful with the flex duct. It could tear, you can rip. I don't even trust half the duct cleaners we know because you have to do it on a constant basis and be comfortable with it. When they clean it, it's a specialized tool that looks sort of like a toilet brush that spins around real fast. And if they don't know what they're doing, they'll rip the ducts as they run that tool through there. It's the same with a person cleaning their own ducts. It's just a thin plastic, almost like a trash bag. And it's pretty easy to punch your hand through if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, and if it is mold or mildew is the issue that you're worried about, duct cleaning, there's other solutions rather than duct cleaning. So air purification would probably be the number one way to remedy remedy that issue if it's a mold or mildew problem that you're worried about. And Jordan's the expert on that. So I'm sure he'll be glad to explain the difference between UV lighting and other air purification systems.
Well, we've had this come up a lot recently, especially on heat pump systems, which aren't hot enough to kill mold and mildew as they flow through it. An air purification system does help tremendously with this. It helps it in the system. It helps within the ducts because it does release its cleaning agents throughout the duct system. Now, if you have mold and mildew in the duct system itself, the air purification system isn't the only solution. You would still start with a duct cleaner who would come out, and what they do is they fill the ducts with a fungicide mist. They vaporize it and it floats through the ducts to sterilize anything in the ducts. After you did that, you would want to get an air purifier put onto the system, which would have a UV light, which would kill mold and mildew passing in front of it in the system, as well as the best models release a natural occurring peroxide, which helps kill the mold and mildew throughout the whole house to help prevent that in the future. These kind of preventive measures are probably just as useful as a regular duct cleaning. So if you're really worried about the air quality in your home, cleaning the ducts is a solution, but the true solution is actually how you purify the air passing through the entire home.
What is it called? So there's the UV, there's LED, which like the Remy Halo, but how does it do it? Photohydronization or something? It takes the moisture and turns it into peroxide?
Essentially, yeah. If you want to get really hard into the science, the Remy Halo LED, which is our preferred unit, it has an LED light for the longevity of the LED light versus the old ones had a mercury-based light, which only had a short lifespan. Its secret sauce is it interacts with the oxygen and the moisture in the air with its membrane and creates natural occurring oxides, which are just oxygen molecules in 2 or 3 or whatever bound together. But those are the same kind of concept as OxyClean, those sterilized stuff. And that's what it happens. It mimics sunlight hitting the air outside through its process with the UV light and the membrane and the moisture in the air, and then it creates these natural occurring peroxides, which then pass through your entire house and clean it. Well, the Halo does all methods above. Air ionization also helps particles cling together so they're caught in the filter rather than making it through to your ducts. That's one way that dirt can pass through the system and actually make it to the ducts is it's too small for your filtration system to catch it. Air ionizer helps with that because it clumps the particles together and then they're large enough for the filter to catch. As far as the duct cleaning goes, another option that has become popular is aerosealing the ducts after the fact. And that's essentially a very thin lining that gets blown through the duct system to coat it. And that helps trap dust in or limit the ability of the ducts to catch dust. Aeroseal, is a few $1,000s when you get it installed, but that's another option. Todd, what should customers expect if they decide to go through the duct cleaning process?
You can expect to pay a lot of money and be unhappy.
I mean, duct cleaning, if you have a reputable duct cleaner, it's a fairly simple process. They will come, they're going to tape off all the ducts, and they're going to start at one end, and they're going to essentially pull the dirt through the system to the other end. How much they charge you depends on the company and their expertise and their skills. A lot of companies will charge you per duct, or they'll give you a flat rate, which is 8 ducts included, and anything over that's additional charges. So if you have a very large house, it's going to be more expensive than if you have a smaller house. They will charge you a little bit extra, and you'll normally opt to do it, but they'll charge you a little bit extra if you get the biocides or something steamed through there. But if you're going to do this process, I'd recommend doing the whole process and get that option added on. They might also do a return duct cleaning.
Blower wheel cleaning.
Right. Now, those are very useful because that's where we see most of the dirt build up on that side, not the other side. So that's an effective add-on as well.
So if you need your air ducts cleaned, you can always ask your local trusted trade pro for advice and help.
Thank you for listening to Ask the Trade Pros. We release new episodes every other Tuesday, so be sure to subscribe and follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. If you have a question you would like us to answer on the show, please leave us a voicemail or an email, and we may feature your question in an upcoming episode. That information is in the show notes. This podcast is sponsored by the good folks at Done Right Services. As always, thank you for your support.